2025 NFL season, we made it through all the dulls and doldrums, though there weren't very many with the draft and free agency and mega trades and holdouts and contract things. We're here. We have football hours from now between the Cowboys and the Eagles. We'll get you set for that with Cowboys legend and three-time Super Bowl champ Moose Johnston. He's got a bit of a take, a point of view on this whole Micah situation, and he's going to tell me how these Cowboys can upset the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. I can't believe this is here. I can't believe this is tonight. We also, of course, want to get you set over on FanDuel Sportsbook with everything going on. There's a lot of props and a lot of fun. We have five-time Pro Bowler Terron Armstead, Mr. Media, here to talk all things Week 1 as well. He will be honored by the Saints ahead of their game against the Cardinals this weekend, so lots to celebrate. It should be a party. Vamos. We made it. I'm proud of all of you for, trying to love other sports as much, spending time with loved ones, like pretending that something's cooler or could ever fill the spot of what football does to you. I'm proud. I'm proud for the effort, but we no longer need to pretend. We have what we love. We have football. We have football tonight, precious moments. It all kicks off Week 1 tonight. NBC treatment, Eagles and Cowboys in Philadelphia. We'll get into that game for a moment. Banners happening, teams staying inside. Can they run it back? What is George Pickens going to look like? Love his value on FanDuel Sportsbook. By the way, let's bring in Matthew Hamilton. Hamilton, we made it. We pretended we were into, I don't even know what we were doing. It's a blur because none of it really matters because
there's some hockey talk in there.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. It's all pretend.
A lot of different things, but yeah.
I think I'll spend more time with my family. Nothing fills the, players always say what's going to fill the hole of what the NFL, no, it's for fans too. We pretend, though the NFL gave us plenty of storylines, one getting resolved, question mark, with Micah Parsons less than a week ago. So we've got that to talk to Daryl Moose Johnston about. He's on the call for that Fox Bengals game. I'm excited to hear what he has to say. Joe Burrow saying he wants to use his little gams, his aloe gams, running around a little more. When I heard that, I was like, you're finally healthy. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I had the same kind of reaction. I mean, we've seen him in the past, that obviously that AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, some of the biggest moments of that game were him taking off, using his legs, getting away from Chris Jones and picking up big gains. But yeah, Joe, you have so many weapons on that offense. Maybe just save that one for when you really need it.
Yeah. Do you dare me to show you where I am? I think everybody that's worked hard to get me hardwired here is going to be mad, but I almost can't not. So I'm sitting in what will be tomorrow, the YouTube suite. I am at the stadium. I'm looking at a Chiefs end zone where you know what I'm going to say? I'm looking at a Chiefs end zone right now where Juju Smith-Schuster is going to score a touchdown.
Let's go.
Pacheco will have, sure. And then over here, I'm looking at a Los Angeles Chargers end zone where, do they put McDuffie on McConkey? That'll be a fun little spicy matchup for me to see, but I can't. How are you going to keep Ladd out of that end zone? I know we all want to see Marion Hampton. I know that's what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to put, I think we're underestimating Slater and how we're going to miss him. We're going to get into that game. I know we have action tonight, but I'm going to take a risk here. You guys bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm betting on my skills here. I'm going to show you the stadium a little bit, okay?
Okay. Don't unplug anything.
I know. So I'm in. Oh, did I unplug something? Oh, snappies.
We still got you.
YouTube suite, super fancy. I'll do it very nice and slowly. Tell me when you can see her.
Wow. Oh, we can see it. That is beautiful.
It's awesome. It's quite unbelievable. And I will say it's giving, you know what it's not giving? It is not giving SoFi. It is giving Arrowhead. And I'll tell you why. And I know there was a game here last year. I'm already thinking, oh my gosh, how are you going to hear my voice? So I'm not, you know, my pet peeve is singing and screaming into the microphone and like loud.
Yeah.
It's giving Arrowhead. In fact, the fans are literally right there. They're going to be on top of the action. And so it is
That's
giving
awesome.
that, like, it's giving a soccer stadium. It is, in the best way possible. And I absolutely cannot freaking wait for all of this. Do you have any bold prediction for tonight? Anything you're keeping your eye on before we get the show rolling?
I'm keeping my eye on, again, everybody's making such a big deal about Micah not being there with the Cowboys the other edition. I know you picked him to score a touchdown yesterday. George Pickens, it's kind of been forgotten about in all the Micah stuff. And I think he's going to be shot out of a cannon. I think we see a big game from him to at least keep the Cowboys somewhat in this, although I do still feel like the Eagles end up running away with it. But I think Pickens has a big night.
Eagles secondary, pretty good. Just saying.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We'll see what they do here. Of course, we've got Chargers Chiefs, a big AFC West battle at the gates exclusively on YouTube tomorrow night from Sao Paulo, tonight in Philadelphia, where the champions are there's probably still confetti and Yingling bottles where the parade was in Philly. And here they go, the Birds, 8.5. That's aggressive. 8.5-point favorites in that one. Chiefs are the 3-point favorites over the Chargers. Some might think that's disrespectful. You tell me. Put your money where your mouth is. Have some fun responsibly over on FanDuel Sportsbook. There is some movement in other places. If you look at the Week 1 slate, Packers gaining a point, 2.5-point faves over the Lions Sunday. Micah is trending towards playing, hopefully. Epidural, do your thing. Big swing. I don't even know if we got one, but oh well. Big swing happened in the massive. Look at this Sunday night action between the Ravens and Bills. Buffalo favored by 1.5. That's flipped in favor of Baltimore. Things that make you go, on the old FanDuel Sportsbook. Lamar and Co. faves on the road after the Bills had kicker Tyler Bass and Keon Coleman pop up on the old injury report just yesterday afternoon. Let's get into tonight. Okay, hours away, precious moments, beautiful game, divisional matchup. I think it's going to be a very special night for Philly. As we know, they're going to raise the banner. There will be emotions. They're the heavy, heavy favorites over a division rival. But this is going to be a message sender tonight on we are that dude. We are that dude. We are the team to beat in the league, and we're going to be the team to run it back. 6 months of listening to Jalen Hurts isn't the guy. 6 months of listening to the tush push, so it should be banned. 6 months of everyone picking the Super Bowl champions to be the Bills and the Ravens, to take over the Chiefs dynasty. Philly, what are you even doing? We've got, like the Packers, all this, whatever. It's I mean, on FanDuel Sportsbook, what are their odds, Hamilton? 4th? Still?
So they were 4th for the majority of this all season. They've moved into a tie for 2nd as of this morning with the Bills behind the Ravens.
Oh, I wish we would have had that. I didn't see that. Okay, got it. So but they were upset probably most of the offseason. That feels about right. They should be tied for 2nd, okay? Or well up there, whatever you want to say. I feel like sometimes the Super Bowl champion wins and you forget about them. And I think the Super Bowl loser we also forgot about, that's playing here in Brazil tomorrow night. But we didn't give a ton of real estate to them after, just kind of after, like in the draft, I feel like even in free agency, obviously the SAQUON deal was huge. It's so much sexier to talk about who's next, been there, done that. And I gotta be honest, even these Eagles, I know they're hanging the banners tonight, but like the day after the Super Bowl, sort of unheard of. Remember like AJ Brown was like, I'm good. It didn't feel like what I thought it'd feel like. I'm on to the next. And so it's sort of been an interesting, that kind of an off season for these Eagles. And I'm looking at no further than Jalen Hurts and how he's talked about, right? I'm trying to look at what's going on here. Jalen Hurts does make this team different, as we can tell, right? Not just because he's got that picture of the Super Bowl loss on his wallpaper still, okay? That was in the America game teaser that dropped yesterday. He's one of the few Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that has had to listen to this all offseason, right? Beyond that, as hard as it may be for some people to believe, he is 27 years old. This has been a theme over the past couple of weeks. If you listen to these Eagles players talk, listen to SAQUON a few days ago talking about Jalen on the practice field.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know if it's just that I'm noticing that because it's my 2nd year within the offense and him, being on his team. But definitely, he was super confident before that, don't get me wrong. But just the way he's dictating the huddle, leading the huddle. He's always been a great leader, but we always have room for improvement.
They're tied for second to win the Super Bowl on FanDuel Sportsbook. They were fourth all offseason behind Bills, Ravens, and the like. They should be number one. The Eagles should be favored. They should be the favorite to win it again. That's where I'd put a little responsible entertainment before tonight's matchups take place in Philly between the Cowboys. And then they should be the favorite. It's going to start. Give me the over. Jalen has a 212.5 passing prop. The over. Want to know what his touchdown prop is on FanDuel Sportsbook right now? 1.5 touchdowns. Are we overlords? Overlords, clearly you're not Eagles fans or something. I don't know where the wind's blowing you, but it's blowing you in the direction of some generosity for taking the overs on Jalen. And anytime touchdown on a tush push, give me that. I don't even know what the odds for that is, but I'm all in. Okay, we are going to take a short break, but before we do, if you, by the way, like Jalen to punch one in, like I do, or SAQUON, like great little bet there, or anybody in this game, get in on FanDuel's Thursday touchdown jackpot, place an anytime bet, and if your player scores the first or the last touchdown, first or last, you get a share of $2 million in bonus bets. You got you covered, first or last, and if you pick scores first, you can split a share of $1 million in our pool. And if he scores last, whoever you pick, you split a share of the last $1 million pool. Kind of confusing to me, but you guys know more than me. If you want to explain that to me, hit me up at FanDuel Sportsbook. Hit me up at HeyKAdams. All you got to do, get over there, download the app. There's a touchdown sweepstakes token. Claim it. It's yours now. Okay, up next. Oh, man, Cowboys legend. What do we make of Micah? Daryl Johnston joining the show ahead of kickoff to the 2025 season. Great to see you. Let's do it. Did we get everything in that A out? Or was there more?
Yeah, no, that was it.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
1.5 is wild.
Yeah. Man, that field does look awesome, though. It's going to be exciting.
Let me show you it again.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Let's take our chances, right?
Yeah. Just
I
don't pull
literally
any cables.
promise YouTube. I'm like, I'm not going to move. I'm good. I'm not gonna F with anything. And here, away we go. It's just hard not to.
Yeah.
So there's, I don't even know, maybe that's see cameras. Pretty good. See how they're, look at
That's
the
pretty
seats
awesome.
behind the end zone.
Yeah.
Do you see how close that is to the end zone?
Yeah. They're right on top of it. And that little overhang, too, is going to
Those are
trap
just
in some of that
bleachers.
noise.
I think they put those seats in. Those aren't seats normally. They put those in. They're bleachers,
Nice.
but like you're going to be in
Yeah, it's
I'm
like a
telling you,
college atmosphere. I love that.
Juju Smith-Schuster's face. That's what I think. Or when Trent McDuffie breaks up a beautiful pass to Lad McConkey, who I think he'll be blanketing most. I'm seeing it in the end zone, I'm just seeing it happen. Deflected. No PI. Chargers. My worry here is I think we're downplaying the Slater. That's all I keep thinking about.
Yeah.
I would
It's
feel
tough to
so
make up for.
good if it was like alt, different position, fine. Alt, Becton, and Slater, I just feel safe about. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, he's good.
Yeah.
But
When you have those tackle spots nailed down, it's a big difference. But I mean, again, you look back at that Joe Alt pick that was controversial at the time. Like, do they need a right? Like, how big was that pick now for them? With this Slater injury, you can slide him into that left tackle spot and at least have that nailed down.
I don't know, man. I hope.
Yeah.
But you do, yeah. I guess I don't know. Was Amarian and what do you temper your expectations for Amarian now? I don't know.
I still have big expectations for him. I know that line has some.
Do you think Justin's going to run a little bit? He ran over 40 yards like once, I think, in a game last year. I'm making that up.
I mean, he's a great athlete. It's definitely in his toolbox. And again, he's another one. He's fully healthy finally.
Yeah.
I hope we see it.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. More on the NFC East battle right now.
There is no greater rivalry anywhere in the league.
If the Dallas Cowboys are going to take us for granted, we'll whip their ass.
It's personal. Of course it is.
Stop the fight. Somebody stop the fight.
Football is back. I have goosebumps. Joining me now, three-time Super Bowl champion. He's been there. He's done that. He is a do-it-all Pro Bowl fullback, of course, for the Cowboys dynasty, an absolute legend. You can hear him on the call for Bengals Browns this weekend on Fox as well. Daryl Moose Johnston, long time no talk.
I know. How have you been?
I'm great. I'm glad. And thank you for the time. I know you're preparing. There's a lot going on. We got quite a game tonight. When I just give you the easy lob here to knock it out the park, I say Cowboys at Eagles tonight. Bright lights, banners go up. What's the first thing you're looking for?
Oh, this is, just the clips that you just showed, of the rivalry, for the Dallas Cowboys to have to come to Philadelphia to have the Super Bowl championship banner unveiled. I mean, that you start off with all the emotion that exists between this rivalry, and it is deep seated. I think sometimes Philadelphia is a little bit offended because the Dallas fans don't hate them as much as the Philly fans hate Dallas. So you're going to get it right out of the gate. I really don't know. I'm on the same page as you. I don't know why we are not giving Philadelphia more credit. I know there was a little bit of movement on the defensive side of the ball, but they're going to be fine. They could be better. Howie Roseman does an amazing job every year. They've got some youth that they can always plug in. Mekhi Becton is the only guy missing from that offense. And that's the scariest thing about Philadelphia is we saw it, last season when they got on that run, after 2-2, they go 16-1, 55 points in the championship game, 40 points in the Super Bowl. I mean, they are a machine, and they're a machine because they control the line of scrimmage. And that's where I think the big question will be for Dallas. How much success can they have? What does the Brian Schottenheimer offense look like? How much do you lean on the run when you may have to struggle against that front, and do you get stubborn with the run? So I think right away, you're going to go into the trenches, and I don't know if there's a team right now in the NFL that matches up with a healthy Philadelphia Eagles team along the line of scrimmage. And that's where the games are won and lost. So that'll be Dallas's biggest challenge. Their offensive line is young. There's potential there. Hopefully down the road, we see some good battles between Philly and Dallas up front. I really do like the Kenny Clark addition. We've got one of our guys from the UFL, Perion Winfrey, who made the Dallas roster. They've got some good guys inside. So that's going to be intriguing to me to see how they stack up against that Philadelphia offensive line. But that's where everything is going to be won and lost tonight. And I just don't know if there's a team that can match Philadelphia along that line of scrimmage.
It sounds like they'd have a better chance to exploit that matchup if they had Micah, no?
Well, it was something very, very interesting. So you mentioned we have Cincinnati against Cleveland this weekend. So we've got Trey Hendrickson and we've got Myles Garrett in our game. And so there was a lot of talk on the impact of the edge rusher. And they took three guys. So they took Myles, Micah, and TJ Watt. And they were kind of making the story, the quarterback position is the most important thing that Cleveland's got to get figured out. Doesn't matter that they have Myles Garrett. Doesn't matter that they have Denzel Ward. Those three players are 2-9 in the playoffs, and each one of them only has one sack apiece. So it's always the quarterback in the big games that's changing the fortune of the team. Dak Prescott coming off the injury, I think that'll be interesting. But really what happened, and I think we're hearing a little bit more of it come out, is Micah is an amazing individual athlete, just outstanding, stack linebacker, rush end, all throughout the formation. You got to find out, where he's at, where's number 11, every single snap, because he can change a game. He can wreck a game. But that was not translating into team success. They were not able to get over the hurdle, even with those 12-5 teams. So I was surprised, actually, that this trade did not happen earlier. I expected it to happen prior to free agency, prior to the draft, when maybe there was more draft capital that Dallas could have brought in. So I was impressed that they got two number ones and they got Kenny Clark at the stage that the draft or that the trade was done. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But he had not brought the championships. He had not gotten them over their playoff challenges for the Dallas Cowboys. So with Dak Prescott under a big contract, CeeDee Lamb under a big contract. You know, we see that happen around the NFL, but you just couldn't make the numbers work. They weren't going to work in Dallas. But I really thought that was going to be a conclusion that Jerry came to earlier in the offseason.
Moose, I mean, the thought is that he's such a dominant, impactful player that they should have prioritized him over Dak. People are saying that, like Chris Sims said that on my show just yesterday, like that there is this idea. I mean, obviously the discourse online is heavy. You're there, you know how it works, you know Jerry. Are you sort of saying that this move helps the Cowboys in the long run? Because he wasn't, I heard you on the radio, you said, quote, he wasn't a savior, that Micah's not a savior. I feel like that's a little bit of a nonconformist alternative take.
Yeah, I do feel that way. And it kind of goes back to those numbers. You know, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, and Myles Garrett are 2-9 in the playoffs. Troy Aikman started out 11-1, 10-1 in the playoffs. Your quarterback is the one that drives that game. You were just talking about Jalen and everything he means to the Philadelphia Eagles, and not just as a passer, but as that team leader. And for SAQUON to come out and talk about, you know, how he's seen a different Jalen, a more confident Jalen, you know, going into this season. You know, that's the driver of the position, and that's or for the team. So for me, yeah, Dak has to play better. You know, that's everybody knows that. Everybody knows that, including Dak Prescott. You know, he's going to have a ton of eyes on him, you know, this season. You know, that offense has got to find a way, you know, to get back to playing football, you know, the way that we saw them in those 12-5 seasons. But they also need to get over that hurdle. I think the big thing about the trade is where Micah went to. I think that's one of the things that has a lot of people questioning, well, why would you do that? I mean, obviously you'd love to make sure, number one, he's not in your division. Number two, he's not in your conference. But when you have to make a deal like that, and you've got to make that deal, if you have to go with the Green Bay Packers, because that's the only way it's going to happen, then that's who you have to work with as your trade partner. Now, what happens, you know, with you know, the Green Bay Packers moving forward? I think that's going to be the other intriguing thing that Dallas fans are going to be watching. You know, what impact, you know, does Micah Parsons have on that team with Jordan Love and the offensive side of the ball in a pretty good position right now to be able to be a good complementary piece to that Green Bay defense?
I mean, we were talking in our morning meeting about adding him, and like, if you're Goody, would you have done the move? You know, and you're saying, I mean, I'm imagining like in 5 years, who will have made the better move? Cowboys fans certainly are going to keep tabs on this, but all the top 10 paid edge rushers have had little playoff success, except for Bosa. He made 2 Super Bowls on his rookie deal, right? Hendrickson, 1 Super Bowl, he was making $20 million a year at that point. So it'll be interesting to sort of track as well. I like that I sat with Kenny Clark the day before the trade was made. He's only 29. He wasn't down. This is a guy who's in his prime. And I like that you are taking this stance, this point of view that Dallas got more than expected in return for Micah. How should this team, Shadi, Jarrett, how should they use what they got in return to catapult this team back to where we need it to be?
That's going to be the biggest thing for Will McClay and that personnel department is to maximize those 2 picks. You talk about maybe 5 years down the road, we'll have a better idea of who really came on the upside of this trade. And I think that all depends on who Dallas drafts. You know, we've seen, it's amazing to me how hard it is just in that first round. You would think that first round you'd have a much better success rate, but you really don't. It gets down to 50-50 a lot of times. And we go back and we revisit the first round of draft classes and what looked like a good draft coming out at that time ended up not being everything that you thought it was going to be. So Dallas is taking that first step in creating an opportunity to get back to the top, to challenge Philadelphia, to challenge Washington. And now it's up to them to maximize what they have to do. You know, I think it's going to be interesting to see the running back position because, you know, Coach Schottenheimer is going to want to be able to establish that run. You know, that's in his DNA going all the way back to his dad, Marty Schottenheimer, who was one of my favorite guys to ever be in the NFL. Great defense, physical up front, running the football. You know, that's what Brian is going to be about. And what are the running backs like for Dallas this year? Is that something we've got to look at as the running back position becomes more and more important over the last couple of seasons? So we're getting back to some of that old school style football that's going to be right in Brian Schottenheimer's wheelhouse. So I'm excited to see how the whole thing pans out. I really am. We'll get an idea of the impact that Micah is going to have for the Green Bay Packers this season, obviously, but the big questions about Dallas will be down the road. And, you know, I was there in 1989 when they did the Herschel Walker trade and what that did, to set us up for our run from 92 to 95. I'm not saying this is comparable to that. I mean, that was, there's nothing that's ever going to compare to the Herschel Walker trade. But when you're in desperate need of turning your franchise around, and all of a sudden you find 2 first-round draft picks that you can use, that's huge. And getting ready for this game, one of the big discussions is, well, Cleveland is struggling because of that Deshaun Watson trade, and they lost 3 first-round draft picks in consecutive seasons. It's so hard, to be able to be competitive if you don't have your first-round draft pick, and then the guy that you gave all that draft capital away for ends up not panning out to be the player that you thought he was.
Really well said. I wish you would say it's setting them up for that. I'd like to see that and believe that. And I certainly see both sides of it. As far as this game goes tonight, I mean, SAQUON ran all over the Cowboys. We averaged like 5.2 yards a pop against them in 2 games last year. So I don't know, if we'll see, I don't know if the Micah thing, it'll be talked about, but I think we're almost like over talking about that and not talking about the addition they have in George Pickens. It's sort of how I started the show today. Like, I'm excited to see him. I'm hearing great things about him in this debut. He was inactive against the Eagles last year. So if I were to call my shot for this game, he's making a big catch in a critical moment. Do you agree? What do you think?
I think the one thing I want to watch with Pickens is how does he manage his emotions? We see it all the time. Football's an emotional game, but you have to be in control of them. And that's an area that George has struggled with that. He'll make a great play, and he'll get up and he'll cost you 15, or sometimes he'll cost you 30. So you get a net negative out of it. Can he play the game and manage his emotions and be productive and positive all the time? He's in a contract year. There's a lot of people that want to see how he plays this year, and that's going to determine what his future is going to be moving forward. So, I think it has stayed under the radar a little bit. I think that was an area where Dallas really needed to have somebody opposite CD, to take some of that pressure off of him. So I think it is one of those deals that was early enough that it's kind of stayed under the radar, and we really haven't talked about it a whole lot. So that will be something interesting to watch. It will be something fun to watch. But that's all going to be based on how does that offensive line do against Philadelphia's defensive line? Does Dak Prescott have the time in the pocket? Have they established some type of run? Is it something that's being effective where they can even use some play action off of that? That's one of the big things that Philadelphia defense can do to you. They can make you one-dimensional. And then that is, I know they've talked about the defensive line was an area, the edge was an area where they lost some talent last year, but you've got some guys behind them who I think have been waiting for that opportunity to show that they belong at the NFL level.
I mean, Dak didn't play against him last year, right? He was banged up, but he's had success. He's 4-1 in his last 5 against Philly. He's averaged, to your point of maybe being one-dimensional, 305 passing yards. He's thrown 16 touchdowns against them. So I think it'll be really interesting tonight. And then you add in George Pickens, but like you said, maybe unsexy for some, but that line of scrimmage is where it'll be won and lost. So I was talking to Michael Irvin last week for Netflix Sports. Of course, they had the documentary. Sorry, I'm at the Sao Paulo Stadium. I'm sure there's going to be, there's going to be a lot of PI here on the program. I appreciate your patience, Daryl. I was going to ask you, I asked Michael, how long can they go without winning a championship and still be considered America's team? And he said the Bible says that a generation is 4 decades, 40 years. So that would give them 10 more years. He thinks you can't go an entire generation without winning. What's your answer to that question? How many more years can we go without a championship and still maintain what they've accomplished as a brand?
That's a great question. I would have said they couldn't go 30 years, but they have. I don't know. The value continues to go up. The business side of what the Jones family has done for that franchise is absolutely amazing. The number 1 brand in professional sports in the world. And you haven't won a championship in 30 years. So that just shows you how good they are at marketing and branding that star. Michael makes a great point, if, a generation is 4 decades, at some point, we've always talked about this, there's never going to be change until change is forced. That stadium is full. The revenue keeps coming in. From an apparel standpoint, they're still the leaders. When does the interest from the fan base finally start to dwindle? Because that'll be the one thing that grabs the organization's attention more than anything is the valuation of the brand, because you haven't won a championship starts to dwindle. And as a kid who grew up in Buffalo, and knows the passion of the fan base there, and you saw that franchise, kind of go through some tough times, during the course of the years. Back when I was growing up, and it was O.J. Simpson and Joe Ferguson, and that great the Bermuda Triangle defense, and then they go through a tough spell, and you go through those times where the parents were Bills fans, but their kids are growing up as Patriot fans, which has to be a dagger to the heart to be a Bills fan and have your kids wearing Tom Brady jerseys. And that's never really happened in Dallas. Dallas, it's like part of the DNA of the family. If mom and dad are Cowboys fans, you're going to be a Cowboy fan. And even if you don't win a championship, you're still going to be a Cowboy fan. You're going to go out and you're going to defend a star. So I don't know how long that can last. Michael makes a good point with that 40-year thing and the biblical reference, but I'm shocked that we're sitting here at 30 and it hasn't been impactful to him.
Well said. Why weren't you in the documentary? I love what you just said.
I was doing the spring football thing, so I was down in Birmingham, and we could never get it to sync up. And yeah, I wish I would have loved to have been a part of it. We tried, and the one time we thought we had it all set, I was in Dallas the same time they were going to be coming to Dallas, and then we had some weather, and they couldn't get into Dallas. And by the time they get into Dallas, I had to go back to Birmingham. So yeah, it's been fun to watch. I've actually learned some things. Having lived it, I've actually learned a couple of things that were going on back then, which has been very very interesting for me. So yeah, it would have been great.
What's the one thing you learned? What did you learn?
I always thought the moment that it broke apart between Jerry and Jimmy was always at the combine. I didn't know that was at the owners' meeting. The story down here was that happened at a combine dinner is when that first foray was fired in a group of your peers that was very offensive. And then I knew we had some players that worked hard and played hard, but maybe I didn't know how hard they were playing, off the field. So but it was a great time. It was a great time.
I wish you were part of it. I'm glad to hear your opinion and that you enjoyed rewatching that. And it's always great to hear that. Now let's get to what you've been studying. You keep bringing up these Bengals. You know how I feel about them. You've got the call for Fox, incredible divisional matchup. You've got Joe Burrow, you've got Myles Garrett out there, two of the biggest stars in the game. This quote freaks me out. Okay, it's Bengals Browns. You're in the booth for Fox. Joe said, "Quote: This year I'm running more." Moose.
Right.
Moose,
Why?
he's finally healthy. He's got two okay what is that a good idea? Is it worth the risk?
No. I mean, how many Bengals fans held their breath in that Monday night game against Washington when you had the horse collar tackle, you had him running around? I'd rather see him, be the Joe Burrow that we always see and get rid of the football quick if there's nothing there. Scrambling and extending. Yeah, he is unique. And I think it's one of the things that he's always taken a lot of pride in when we've talked to him. You kind of make that remark that, wow, you're a little bit more athletic than I thought you were. And I think he takes offense to that. So, maybe it's just the situation where, just like the highlight you saw there, if you're going to give me the opportunity to run, if you're going to turn your back, if you're going to play man against T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Mike Gesicki, and you're going to turn your back to me, then I will take what you give me. But he'll be smart. He'll be smart. And I think that's the biggest thing is, this is the first time he's coming into a season, no restrictions. He was perfectly healthy through camp, actually convinced, Coach Taylor to let him play a little bit more in the preseason. So they know how important it is to get off to a good start. And it's actually kind of fun for us to have this game because we had Cincinnati last year, early on, and we talked to them about the start. And at that point, Zach Taylor didn't feel like he was going to make a lot of changes or any changes because he felt he had reasons why they were starting slow over the years. There was always something specific he could point to. But I think this year it was just too much. And the fact that you've missed the playoffs 2 years in a row because you started off poorly in the month of September has finally gotten his attention. So they practiced in the morning. The starters played a little bit more. They didn't do any joint practices. So there's a couple of things that they were doing differently this year. And that shows you how important it is for them to get off to a great start. So I think it's going to be fun just to see. I think the biggest thing for us is the defense. Al Golden's coming in. They were super vanilla, in what they did in the preseason. And what you hear is, when we were practicing, it looks good. We don't have any concerns. But for me, if I watch your games on film, and it's the fundamentals, it's the tackling, it's the angles. Those are things that should be there whether you're vanilla or not. So I think there is some concerns that they need to have on that defensive side of the ball, and that could become right the biggest matchup that determines this outcome is not so much Myles Garrett and the Cleveland defense against Joe Burrow and that incredible offense from Cincinnati, but Joe Flacco and the Browns offense against Trey Hendrickson and the Cincinnati Bengals defense. That might be the one. Which group made the biggest strides from last year to this year? Because neither one of them was complementary. When you look at the struggles of Cleveland last year at 3-14, it was really the offense with turnovers and penalties and everything that they were doing there, 3 and outs, just putting the defense in a stressful situation. And for Cincinnati, I mean, when you score 33 points 7 times and you're 3-4 in those games, your defense is not holding up their end of the bargain. So I think really what could come down to is the determining factor in this game is who wins the battle between the Browns offense and the Bengals defense, the 2 areas where they needed to grow in the offseason.
It's very well said. As you're talking, I'm looking at the stadium here, Chiefs, Chargers, and one of the things that I was thinking that Patrick doesn't get enough credit for is a revolving door of weaponry. Like truly, like from hill to not hill to changing up how he, to reining himself in to not have to be Magic Mahomes every second. He has the defense, he's got Spags, he's got all that going on. But Joe and Josh Allen's had a lot of turnover too. A lot of the lead even Lamar Jackson's dealt with a lot of different receivers. Joe has had consistency. People want this team to maybe get back to the playoffs. I want this team to be held to the standard of a Super Bowl run here. I think Joe is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's had Jamar for 8 years, whatever that might be, 4 now with the Bengals, 5, I don't even know. He's got him and T. Then they've added the Gesicki's. They've drafted the Chase Browns, who's an underrated, I don't want the defense to be an excuse. In fact, I think Joe's going to need some reining in to not put everything on his shoulders. That's my worry a little bit. Now he's feeling himself. He's healthy. He wants to run more. I don't love that. I guess my question to you is when it comes to a Super Bowl run, and that's what I as a fan want and think they can accomplish, is this offense going to be good enough to make up for what the defense might not have, in your opinion, before we take a break?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a little bit better defensively. So I think they will, but they are all in. They are absolutely all in. When you look at the whole Trey Hendrickson deal and what that was, that's the final piece that Joe asked for at the start of the offseason. It was not going to be anything they could do long term. So, hey, here comes all of our chips to the center of the table for 2026. We already had a lot of them going in there, but now we've got them all in there. But it's not really Trey, right? It's not just him. I mean, there's so much more that has to get better there. Opposite him, who's the person that's going to take some pressure off the double teams and the chips and everything that happens to Trey, because they haven't had that guy opposite. Is Shamar Stewart going to be that guy? Is Miles Murphy going to finally, get healthy and be able to be on the field? Those are some of the big questions that are going to be asked. But this is who the Bengals franchise is. It's always been focused on the offensive side of the ball. That is where they're going to spend their capital. If you look back through the history of this organization, when you look at quarterback and wide receiver, that's where they've built it around. They've built it on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously you had Marvin Lewis there for a number of years, and there might have been a little bit of a change, but they're still going all in on quarterback and wide receiver, and that's the way this franchise has functioned. And it's going to be up to them to be able to carry that defense when they're down. But they don't have to be great. They just have to be okay. That's how good this offense has the potential to be. We're not asking you to be a top 10 defense. We're asking you to be, 15, 16. Just don't be 29. Don't be 28.
All I'm hearing is you think they can make a run. That's all. You just talked for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I really do. I really do, because
let's go, Moose.
Yeah, I am not sold on Baltimore getting there. They have to prove that to me that they can do that. So until they do that, Buffalo is scary, right? Because Buffalo is a year ahead of last year. Nobody expected them to be, in the championship game last year. And so now they're going to have a ton of confidence. I think Buffalo is the one team you have to worry about in the AFC. Kansas City is going to want to get back because of what happened to them in the Super Bowl. But I don't even know if they're going to win the West. I mean, the Chargers, the Broncos. I mean, that is a tough
Wait, hold
division.
on. We have to take a break, but did I just hear a legend, someone who has Super Bowl rings somewhere in some safe somewhere that you're too humble to ever wear? Daryl Moose Johnston has more faith in the Bengals in 2025 that have missed the playoffs the past 2 years than the Ravens, who are one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because they were there a couple of years ago. They made one of those magical runs. You know, Baltimore has been the favorite for a number of years. They've been one of the top teams in the AFC. They can't get over that last hurdle. Buffalo can't get over that last hurdle. Are the Bengals the team that becomes that hurdle this year as opposed to the Chiefs? It all hinges on Al Golden's defense for Cincinnati. If they can just be good, good. They don't have to be great.
Who's winning the West, AFC West, if it's not the Chiefs?
I was so impressed with Bo Nix last year. I think Vance Joseph is incredible at defense. Obviously, we all know Sean Payton and what he can do with the offensive side of the ball. To see his growth, just watching him getting ready for the game, how he played early on, and then how he played when we got to see him twice last year. He was just getting better and better every game. We got to see every single one of the first round draft picks last year, except JJ McCarthy, obviously. And we walked away everything. Now, Jaden Daniels, statistically, obviously, just an amazing season. We saw him in week 1, and it was fun to watch him grow. But when we sat and talked with Bo Nix, he's an old soul. There's something about him that was, you get in the huddle and that guy walks in and you know, he kind of owns it. It was really cool. So we liked all of them. There were things that we liked in everybody, but our group ended up having everybody, even Michael Penix at the end of the year when they made that change. We got to see him and visit with him. We all walked away most impressed with Bo Nix.
I just feel like we're forgetting the Chiefs. I just have this, I don't know what it is. Is it the Super Bowl loss? They didn't get worse from last year. They in fact got better. So even if the Broncos are better, but the Chiefs are better and they've got more stability and they know how to win. We're talking about getting over the hump as a qualifier. They know how to do that. What's the hesitation with it, or is it not so much a hesitation? You just think the Broncos got that much better with Greenlaw, Hufanga, and Nix?
Yeah, there's something there, and it's a prediction, right? You know, I'll own it at the end of the season if they're 0-2 against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are going to the AFC Championship game again. I thought you made a great point earlier because we actually had the Chiefs late in the year, a couple of years ago when they went to New England, and it was a really good conversation with Patrick and kind of getting that feeling of him understanding the change in the team from year to year to year. I mean, sometimes you think you can just run that same way all the time when you've got a Tyreek Hill and we're down the field and we're explosive and we're doing all this stuff. And it doesn't, it changes. And he recognized that. And he said, what I noticed in my play was if I just don't make the mistakes, we're going to be fine. And it was at a time when everybody was blaming the receivers for drops. Yes. And Patrick would just step up and own everything. I've got to get the ball in a better location. I've got to let him run after the catch. You know, it was always something that he didn't do quite right. And I was so impressed walking away from that conversation with him because he was still young at the time. And for him to recognize we're in transition. This is about our defense now. And I've got to start playing smarter as a quarterback, not to put our defense in a bad position because they're going to be the side of the ball that determines how far we go moving forward. I've got to do my job, but I can't put them in a bad position. And for a guy that came into the NFL and just hit the ground running with all these explosives to be able to, this is how I need to play now. I was so impressed walking away from that conversation.
I think it's hard to do, and he does deserve a little credit for that. And we'll see if Joe can sort of mimic that and not have to play. I think it's especially when there's so much pressure and you have been to the Super Bowl and you want to win and people are doubting you, being Joe, you want to do it all to be able to rein yourself in. And that's obviously up to Zach Taylor as well. Will be interesting to see. And that is the Browns and those are the Bengals and they're on Fox and you are a legend and I could talk to you all day, but we got to go. Moose, I appreciate you. Good luck. Can't wait to hear you in the booth.
Awesome. Have a great season.
You too. Great to see you. Oh, you missed on this Netflix series. Wish you could have gotten our guy Moose.
we gon' run it. Shit on top, I'm with it. Can't stop me, get ready.
Physically, he's at a different level.
Let's get it.
Locking down everyone. He's definitely been a top player in the league for a while.
Let's get it.
When he gets his hands on you, it's over with.
Well, 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 if it isn't a 5-time Pro Bowler, 12 seasons in the league with my fave, the Saints, the Dolphins, as well. The Dolphins, a hot, spicy topic. Will they shoot to the moon? 12, 13 wins. Will they win 5 games? I don't know. But not only is he just a legend, you are crushing. Do you hear me? You are crushing the media game with that smile and those takes because you are honest. I told you this years ago. You're going to crush it. And I'm so happy to see it already taking off. How is it so far?
It's been great, Kay. Thank you. You are one of the ones that got me started in this media space. It got me thinking about it for sure. Because when I was playing, I had no desire to talk the game or be on this side of the game. But you were the one that like you should definitely dive into media whenever that time comes. So you started that. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You're absolutely crushing it. You're wearing a Saints shirt. You're honored as the Saints legend of the game this weekend as New Orleans takes on Arizona, I believe. What is the one emotion you know you're going to feel?
Just joy, really. Being proud of everything, enjoying the moment, being in that city and in that stadium, just to feel that energy one more time. I might cry, really. It's a special place for me.
Oh, Terron, I can't wait to watch it. It'll be amazing. And then if you look at the game and you're Mr. Analyst, Mr. Media here, let's go. Rattler getting the start. I visited them. I don't know if you visited them during training camp. I did. And I walked away like it's Shuck. I don't know. I just thought it would be. I don't know why, just based on like the nonverbals that I was getting, but it's Rattler to start the season. What is one thing that you are looking for from him against the Cardinals?
I like Rattler. I do. Shuck, he was impressive to me too. It's kind of hard to see with a small sample size, but Spencer Rattler had more. He got a chance to get more experience last year. And those few games, I think, was the difference between him getting that start to start the season. I like him, though. He's fearless. He's not staring at the rush. He has no problem taking a hit and delivering the ball. I saw him throughout the preseason make some very, very impressive throws towards the sideline. And if you can get him to have more opportunities to be upright and deliver the ball, I think he can do that. And, of course, having Alvin Kamara behind him, he can hand the ball off to him 25 times a game. That makes everything better. That makes everybody better.
It's in the Superdome. Saints are 6.5-point underdogs. Who wins this game?
Saints. Who that? And I'm not even this is going to be unbiased. Like being in this media space, I try my best to be unbiased with the Saints and Dolphins. I do have the Saints coming away victorious this game. I think it's just first year under this new regime. They want to get out to a high start. Kellen Moore going to have them guys excited, ready to go, and just being in that dome. That's a hard place to play. So I got the Saints coming away week 1-0.
I'm sure you saw my sit down with DeMario and how he spoke about Kellen.
Yeah.
I've never heard somebody speak about a coach that way. And I mean, this is the guy who had Sean Payton. He's the guy. Yeah. They're going to be better. I don't know what that means, but they're going to be a lot better than we think they are because of him.
Yeah, I think so too. And to your point, I haven't heard somebody give that much love and praise to a coach before ever having his first, experience and getting a chance to do it for the first time. It says a lot. It says a lot about Kellen, the way he's going about his business, his consistency, his demeanor, his demand, and the standard that he's making them guys live up to every day. DeMario is a guy that he's all about the work. He's all about the work. Everyone has to come to work with that same mindset and intention on getting better. So for Kellen to impress a guy like DeMario Davis, who's a multiple-time All-Pro, one of the best defensive players in the league for the last 12, 13 years, for him to impress him that much in 6 months, it says something.
Terron, you talk about this a lot. Like there's all these and now you're covering the whole league, right? There's all these narratives, right? Storylines. I call them tabs, right? These tabs that are open. The Miami one is always now I'm like, what's going on? How's it go? So let's move to the other helmet over your other shoulder. I talked to Tyreek at Super Bowl. He said he has to mend fences. You were honest. He's honest. You guys have sort of played this out publicly, which I, as a fan, love. He wasn't named captain. You don't think that's a big deal. I want to know what you know. I want to know what Tyreek has done to mend the relationships that needed to be mended.
Tyreek has retooled and refocused himself to like rookie mentality in the sense that he's only focused on football. He only wants to improve as a player. He's only focused on the playbook and making sure he has the right foot up at the line. And is he on the ball? Does he have this motion? Like he's so micro focused right now. He trained his butt off, and I know we've all seen him running track and all those things. Man, he's in amazing shape. He's so locked in and dialed in. I went down to Miami. I spent some time with him. That's my guy. That's my brother. I love him for life. I've been down there a few times throughout the off season and training camp, and we spend time together. We talk. Like that's a friend of mine. I would truly say that Tyreek is a friend of mine. And it's just his conversations are just really, man, he's just so focused on football and family. Like it's nothing else that he cares about. The thing about Tyreek that is super special is his level of competitiveness, which has also gotten him in trouble, but it's his biggest strength. And the fact that he had a down year last year, that's all he needs. Like it's such a motivating factor for him. Man, look for Tyreek Hill to be incredible this season.
What does that mean, incredible? You mentioned rookie mentality. Are we talking rookie numbers? What are we? Tell me what I need to know about the kind of give me a bold prediction on Tyreek this year.
Okay, I won't say 2,000 yards. I won't say that at all. I don't want to put any type of bold, lofty expectations on him statistically, but I will say Tyreek will have his dominance. He will demand a double team. He will demand a defensive coordinator to focus on him, to try to eliminate him from the offensive scheme on a weekly basis, which will open everyone else. So his numbers may not be inflated to where he's 1,800 yards or whatever, but Waddle numbers will be up. Malik Washington numbers will be up. Devon Achane numbers will be up. You know what I mean? Because of the attention that Tyreek is demanding with him being on the field.
And Tyreek is in a good place where he will welcome that, get the team wins. I love that. You've been so positive on the Dolphins. So I'm positive on them because you know, and everybody needs to listen to everything that you put out there because you know what's going on. You said the team's going to win 11 games.
No,
I'm not. But you're buying in on them. I'm not saying, but you who are objective, you have nothing to gain from saying they're going to be good if they're not. That's actually a disservice to them and keeping hype down, right? 11 wins is a lot of, they're plus 210 on FanDuel Sportsbook to make the playoffs this year. Okay, they're behind the Colts who they face. Yeah. They're behind the Colts who are plus 205 right now. Can you sell me on why you're so high on them in the lens of Tua? Why is Tua going to lead them to 11 wins and a playoff appearance?
Yeah, I think for me, I share what I feel, my opinion, my beliefs. It's up for them to go out and improve. Anything I say, it means nothing once the ball is snapped and once that first whistle is blown. But what I do know is that we have these odds and we have these predictions. And they've predicted us when I was there to finish in number 1 seed, number 2 seed, to go this place, that place. It didn't happen. So predictions are just that. It's opinions, and it's a lot of different factors that goes into it. So I think it bodes better for the Dolphins to be able to fly under the radar, because when I signed to Miami as the number 1 free agent that year, we traded for Tyreek Hill the same day. So the news, the media, the attraction, it was there immediately, the headlines. This year, I feel like the Dolphins are able to put their head down and work. And I think that part alone is extremely beneficial for them. Now, I can't say it necessarily equate to wins, but I really do think they have a very talented roster. With Tua under center, they can beat anybody. I really feel this way. So I do have them in that 10 to 12 win range.
The Dolphins beat the Colts week 1 if what?
If the Dolphins are able to have no turnovers on offense and the pass rush is able to harass Daniel Jones. Matter of fact, I take that back. If the Dolphins defense can contain Jonathan Taylor, I think the pass rush is going to do his thing. The pass rush, Chop, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, Matt Judon, Zach Sealer, they're going to get busy every game. But they have to be able to contain Jonathan Taylor and earn those reps, earn the chance to rush the passer. They're going to get after him if they get a chance to rush the passer, but they got to stop Jonathan Taylor.
Really well said. Can't wait to see that one go down. I saw you previewing Packers-Lions. I want to ask you about Micah because you faced him. Big trade happens. I just talked to, a legend, Moose Johnston, about it from the Cowboys side. He thinks long-term that they will be better off, that they'll be better off. I want to ask you, there's this discourse, this narrative that maybe Micah isn't good against the run. He's not that good against the run. Do you share that opinion?
I don't. He's great. He's a great football player all the way around. He's special, man. He's dominant. He's an alien. Micah was the first time I got on the field, and just to see him move at his size, I'm like, yo, this is different. This is the evolution of the athlete is going in this direction. This is different. I've seen some specimens, like some guys. Daniil Hunter is put together like somebody really putting this guy together. But seeing Micah move is different, and the way that he is, his versatility as a rusher, as a blitzer, as off the ball or defending the run, he can do everything. I won't put that label on him.
Really well said by you. Tomorrow it's Chiefs. I'm sitting here in Sao Paulo. I'm looking at the end zone for the Chiefs and Chargers right now in Brazil. When a rookie tackle, this is what I'm looking for. When a rookie tackle lines up against a veteran like Khalil Mack, what is the first thing that Terron Armstead's looking at?
It's tough. It's a tough challenge. So a rookie tackle going up against Khalil Mack, you got to have that fearlessness. You know what I mean? You know what he's done in his career. You know the name, but he got to be a nameless, faceless opponent. Every week, as a rookie, you go up, you're going to see a guy. You're going to see Khalil Mack, Max Crosby. You're going to see, that's the division. So you have to go nameless, faceless. Don't give them guys respect what they've done, but they don't exist to you. Their identity don't exist. And you ball out.
That is a really, really great point. We have 20 seconds. Chiefs 3-point favorites. Who wins here in Brazil?
Listen, I'm going to go against the grain. I want the Chargers to come out. I want Justin Herbert to try to make a statement. I would like to see him make a statement to show that it's his time now. He wants to be the one to compete for this division and really put his stamp on the season. So start it off 1-0 against the Chiefs. Shout out to Sao Paulo. I've been there before. Me and Mark Ingram.
Love that. Everybody check out the set on YouTube Monday and Thursday. And congrats, you're partnering with PFF. You are an absolute legend. Invite me on sometime, Terron Armstead. Good luck this season. Love ya. And congratulations on this weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, Terron.